What the actual fuck, bro? It's like the USA women's basketball team woke up and said, hey, I'm gonna raise your blood pressure at 8:30 in the morning, and I'm gonna fully expect you to take a nap after that, bro. Too much excitement. Heart was jumping. It was the weirdest feeling of being both calm and concerned at the same time. Like, calm because I knew we played our worst game. Like, we couldn't play a worse, first half. Hell, we couldn't play a worst whole game. Maybe until like the last maybe few minutes of the fourth quarter. And even then, there were some questionable mistakes. But we played our worst game. France played a tremendous game defensively. It's kind of funny because I knew that would be a thing. I was like, we got way more offensive talent. They got the scrappiness on defense and literally nothing to lose. You lose silver, you win, greatest upset in the world. So it's like literally a win-win for them. But my God, I don't know why we came out so flat. I don't know. I'm going to assume, or, partying with the men the night prior, but I'm not really sure what happened. Who was the issue? Nobody saw that coming. Nobody was like, oh yeah, it's going to be a tight game for the whole game. It was a tight game with Nigeria. Then we went on a run and put them away. It was a tight game in the beginning of Australia. We only got up to like maybe 8 to 10 point lead, and then we kind of just took off after that. It was a thriller, bro. Like I was not expecting a thriller, bro. I promise you I wasn't. I figured they play their hearts out, and USA just does this thing where teams play, and then somehow we find ourselves up 15, and then sometimes we find ourselves up 25. Never happened. Every time it looked like USA was about to, pull off and maybe get some separation, kind of, look like a real USA women's game. Somebody hit a big three, somebody got an and one. I mean, think about it, you play great defense and you got one of the shortest players pulling up from half court and she drop it. Like, at that point, I was kind of like, okay, are they going to lose? Is this going to, like, how you just have those plays that happen for teams where you just like, bro, this day night, it might be their year for a gold medal. I felt like the entire world was feeling this type of tension. Shout out to France, not giving up, playing hard the whole time. I mean, thank God Gabby Williams pulled a KD, because I don't know how that would have went down in overtime. Because that team they had the home crowd behind them. They had the men's team there, and they probably wanted to win that goal for them, really, like, avenge their loss the night prior. We already know what Gabby Williams is about. Is she going to be a blessing to any team that end up picking her up after these Olympics? She's already made it abundantly clear it's not going to be Chicago, so that shatters my dreams. Don't want her to go to the dysfunctional Fever, for sure. So I could see her going to Connecticut and them really putting themselves right in the top of contention for that title. Connecticut got the cap space. Even if Connecticut somehow signs Gabby Williams, that's gonna shake the table in Connecticut in general, because you're already gonna move Ty Harris to the bench for Marina Mabrey. So if you bring in Gabby Williams, I don't know, your three, you're obviously not gonna bench AT. You're obviously not gonna bench DB, and it would be a heartbreak to bench Dejanay with her becoming a starter this year for the first time and really thriving in her role. Although the years prior when she was in Seattle, I felt like, man, if she just gets some consistent offensive play, she's going to be a problem. We already know the type of defense she can hold. Maureen Johannes and Emma Miesemann, all out there, available to be picked up, all can be put on contending teams and make a difference. But I don't really know if they would want to go to a losing team after the Olympics and, medaling and then playing on a lottery team. Especially as some of these people at the stage in their career, they're a little older. I wouldn't be upset with Maureen Johannes on the bench in Connecticut. That'd be, somebody who is who wouldn't have the ego to be like, oh, I deserve to start. If you would have Maureen Johannes coming off the bench, you got Marina Mabrey, and then the sound defense you got from ATDB and Dejanay Carrington, that might take you over the top. It's really just a toss-up of who can just stay healthy, who can find the right mix, that one piece to pick up, and who gonna get the high hand and ride some momentum into the playoffs is really what it's gonna come down to. With this gold medal game, I've never been so on edge, bro. Like, I swear to God, it was the most stressful I've ever been for anything. I think the last time I was that stressed, it was Game 7, Bucks versus Nets. and literally in the same type of fashion. Somebody shoot a crazy shot, but their foot was on the line, and we are beyond grateful for that. Because had she just, had Mourinho Hennis pass it to her a split second sooner, had she just decided I'm gonna do a sidestep and pull up three, she'd have made it. I ain't even gonna hold you. She would have made it. Clearly, it was her. It was her game to lose and or win. I couldn't take a nap. I literally was like, "Oh, I'm gonna wake up for the game, take a nap." I was up. Far too much aside. I'm just laying there like, bro, what if they'd have lost, bro? And if they would have lost, the internet, Twitter would have been insufferable for the next 4 years. My God, I'm so glad they pulled it off. Certain people believe in that. A certain someone would have made a difference. Let's keep it a bean. The only person that would have made a difference is a rebounding big. A big that was like, bro, my job, I don't care about scoring a single bucket, but I'm going to get these boards. That's what they needed. In this game, France crashed the offensive board. It was a possession legitimately where they got 4 different chances at a shot, at least twice. Unheard of with the defense that USA likes to hold and what is expected, what is our identity on defense and how we're going to, execute that. And then we just get out and run because most of the time, a lot of the buckets with you at Team USA, they turn you over and then they just get out and run and get some easy ones. And then at that point, you just kind of like go through the motions after that. So shout out to France for not going through the motions. They got up double digits and then USA fought back. I'm going to hold you. I have to watch it again because I was like, bro, I didn't even, obviously I'm watching it. But, if you're watching it under stress, you're going to miss stuff. You're going to not notice, who did what, when, and where. I'm getting 19 from Gabby Williams, 7 for 16 from the floor. She was the only one in double figures. And while everybody else on France seemed to have played a good game, if somebody could have hit some buckets, like down the stretch, they got tight. It was real good in the, those first 3 quarters. But USA rallied back, and then those shots that they was making was short, long, air balls. They started getting tight, started to, kind of crumble under that pressure. And then USA just kind of just treaded water the entire time. How long I've been watching USA basketball, and not once have I ever thought, wow, they're going to lose. The last time I can remember a game being this close was when Penny Taylor was on Australia. She was cooking USA. She ended up getting in some foul trouble. And she had to go to the bench, and that was like the saving grace because USA was down 8 the whole time to Australia that year. Penny Taylor went down. They lost a lot of firepower on the offensive end, and then they just ended up taking the win. But it was the last time I seen them be tested like that. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, if that lights a fire under them for the rest of the season. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Gabby Williams, 19 points, 3 for 6 from 3, but she only got 9 from Ayayi, 8 from Badane. Atho, another 8 points, 9 points from Maria Johannes, who luckily couldn't buy a bucket today. Because if she would have got hot and been able to fill it up, we would have definitely lost. We had nobody on our wings that was really prepared to do anything for us as far as scoring goes. Maria Johannes went 1 for 8, 9 points, 3 turnovers. They got no production elsewhere from the bench. 7 from Lacan. Cherry gave them 4, but that's it. If one more person would have stepped up for France, it would have been a whole different story. And on the United States side, Stewie only had 8. Collier only had 7. Jackie Young had 2. Chelsea Gray had no points, 4 assists, 3 turnovers. Another game wouldn't really be used like that. Is another game where she became a liability on the defensive end, just being kind of slow-footed, not being able to deal with that pressure, not being able to be comfortable whatsoever because they got her turned around at, the half-court line, and she can't even do much of nothing. She tried to, get a little fancy with the dribble, mix it up a little bit. Picked her twice, knocked the ball, got it loose, ended up passing it around. But, Chelsea couldn't find no type of rhythm in this game. Obviously, Diana Taurasi didn't see a second of the floor. And I know that, Team USA really wanted to get up a big enough margin where DT could get out there, get her flowers. Literally, they had to play into the final buzzer, oddly enough. Who would have thunk it? I know DT didn't, and I know, I saw them after the game and celebrating with the family and stuff. I know she wanted to score at least 1 bucket, but we didn't have a single bucket to spare. Literally, 1 by 1. Didn't have a fucking bucket to spare. But off the bench, though, Shout out Kelsey Plum. Shout out Kalia Copper. Kelsey Plum, for putting the team on her back when they went down 10. She herself went on a run, hit a couple of big buckets, got a couple of big stops, threw a couple of good passes, and then down the stretch in the fourth, Kalia Copper took over and said, all right, bro, I got you. Gabby Williams tried. She had to do it all on both ends, had to guard the best player, and had to be their only offense on the other end. I was just relieved to see Copper take off. Shout out Copper for even just staying engaged, understanding that none of it is personal. And when your number is called, just be ready to perform. She could have been sulking because she didn't get much burn the last game. She could have been sulking because she didn't get a lot of burn to start the game. But she stayed ready when her number was called. She brought it home, bro. And y'all heard what Asia said. Finals MVP, or top of the league in scoring. Got a few 30-point games. She took it home. Asia left it all out there. And I will give it to France for mucking it up, being active, hands everywhere, being disruptive, and feeling like you could have won this game. So shout out to France, man. What I will say about France is they had no give up, right? As compared to Australia, once Australia saw that lead get a little big, they were kind of like, we ain't got no chance. And kind of laid down on that in that game. And USA usually gets their opponents to lay down. Usually gets them to a point where they be like, bro, there's nothing we can do. I'm trying to guard Kelsey Plum. I'm trying to guard Sabrina Ionescu. I'm trying to guard Collier. I'm trying to guard Copper, Plum, Asia, Stewie. We ain't got enough of them. And usually they just kind of fold over the course of the game. France did not. When they even tied it up, got up a little bit by 6. So shout out France for not being like Australia, because when we played Australia, the life in their eyes kind of died. When we played Australia, Collier had 8, but she was kind of active everywhere on the defensive end. Stewie had 16, 6 for 12. Asia had 10, 5 for 7. 14 points for Jackie Young, 6 for 8. Chelsea Gray had 5 and 5, 3 steals. Thomas gave us solid minutes off the bench defensively. Copper gave us 11, 4 for 9 in her 20 minutes. So you could kind of see Copper waking up after she was given a chance and opportunity. I don't know what Cheryl Reed was on. I mean, I know you didn't really have a lot of time to mesh this team together, but once you saw what was working and just the personnel that you have, like Sabrina's a great shooter. Jewel Lloyd, great shooter, great playmaker. Copper is a great slasher. She gonna drive to the bucket, and her being 6 foot, not a lot of guards can really contend with that type of length and athleticism. If you put a bigger wing on her, she can blow by them. You put a smaller wing on her, they can't keep up with that athleticism. She can post them up a little bit. Overall team win against Australia. Shout out to Lauren Jackson, legend in this game, got another medal. Gonna probably hang up the sneakers at this point. Shout out to her and DT embracing each other and all of the battles that they had against each other over the years, both internationally and in the W. I got a little emotional. Say what you will about the last few years of her career. End of an era, man, I'm telling you. So I wonder how that's going to work out for this new crop of people, because the women of yesteryear had to go overseas for compensation. Oh, I know we got a lot of talent. We saw the physicality in that France game. We saw a lot of non-calls for Asia, which is crazy because Asia should have had at least 40 based on how many times she got fouled down there. 9 for 12 from the free throw line. It should have been 20. When will the streak end? It's like, the streak has to end at some point. When will it end? If it'll end. It has to end, right? There's no way. With the talent catching up, they got to catch up, right? On the men's side, you got Wemby coming. Our best bet is Chet Holmgren. We got to make him to progress at the same rate. And shout out United States, men and women getting that gold. Shout out Steph for that crazy sequence. He hit 4 straight threes. I'm usually entertained most of the time, but solid Olympics, thoroughly entertained. Now we gear up for the second half of the season. Second half of the W season. See who's going to pick up these Olympians. See who's going to put themselves over the top on paper as it comes to contending for a championship. We had a lot of Vegas players over here in these Olympics. I wonder how that's going to affect their legs going forward, because games start on the 15th, so that's 3 days. They'll probably rest a day and a half, give or take, and then get right back into the mix. So I do wonder how the fatigue is going to play into the Olympians when they get back to their teams. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Man, shout out USA men and women getting them golds, man.